anytime you're ever trying to do anything in business, life, you get instructions and all, you need to understand why you're doing it. So does anybody know why people hire a junk removal company? What's your reasons?
Can't do it themselves.
Okay, that's good. What's that?
That's the main reason.
Okay, so if they can't do it, why can't they do it on their own?
Too heavy, not enough people to help.
Don't have a truck.
Not the people.
So I would almost argue that just about anybody can do it on their could do it on their own. They could go out, they could borrow a truck, they could find a couple friends to help them out. Could be a couple teenage kids that they gonna pay $10 an hour to come give them a hand for a couple hours to load everything up. On a junk removal job, we're not a business that you have to be. It's got to be a specialized skill to do. We're not, the average person probably can't fix an HVAC machine, but the average person is not a plumber. But they probably could do junk removal. So why would they hire us? Like they don't want to do it, but what are they looking for? What kind of service are we if they don't want to do it?
Convenience.
Exactly. So we're a convenience service. So what, pardon my handwriting here, it ain't the best in the world. What are they, in terms of convenience, how can we not provide a convenience service? Like what's something we can do that's going to make, the reason they hired us, because it's a convenience, what's something that we can do that's going to negatively impact that, where they're not going to use us again, we're not going to fulfill what they initially hired us for?
Not hold ourselves accountable.
What do you mean?
Like, doing our job correctly and stuff like that, like damaging their house while we're doing it, not caring and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's good. What's something else? What's something else?
Not being there on time.
Good thing. That's right. What's something else, Kyle? All right. How about mud? Tracking mud in, not taking shoes off or putting boot covers on. What's something else?
Appearance.
Yeah. Appearance. We've ordered. If you don't have a coat, he's ordered another one. So for you. So shirts tucked in. So uniforms. Something else is really, that's important. What's something else? If they're wanting a convenient service, they're wanting to hire somebody professional. They could have gone to Craigslist and hired Billy Bob Joe to come pick their stuff up. Instead, they chose to pay a lot more with a professional junk removal service. So what's something else?
Professionalism.
Poor attitude.
Yeah, well, professionalism, attitude. There you go right there. So attitude is huge. Matter of fact, attitude, that's the number one thing we hire on is attitude. So we're looking for people with good attitude first, and then the second thing we're looking for is people with strength. The problem is, though, is you can have a good attitude on an interview. You can have a good attitude on 95% of the work you do. It's the 5% of the time that you don't have a bad attitude that that's a lot of jobs. If you do, let's say, we'll put it 10%. The average truck crew, average team leader, if you're working 5 days a week or 4 days a week, you're doing 20 jobs. So that's 2 jobs that we do a bad job with at any given week. That's over 100 jobs for the year. And that's also, not only that, the number of jobs that we did bad for, there's potential referrals, there's potential reviews like Kristen was talking about that we are missing out on. And there's a potential for bad reviews. So somebody get online and leave a bad review, which means that they're telling how many people on past, later on down the line do not choose us because of that one bad review. Or how many people don't find out about us because of we didn't do a good job, so we didn't get a referral. Everything we do is about convenience. So everything, in order to do good convenience, we've got to be very professional. We need to be fairly outgoing. I'm not, you can take this too far. We had a guy one time that used to talk the entire job. One other guy would be talking to the customer the whole job. One guy would be loading the truck the entire time. This one guy was just talking. And that's taking it a little bit too far. But, walking right up, firm handshake, introducing yourself. Having some energy, and then, getting in and doing the job, thanking the customer at the very end. All of that leads to what is professional, which it goes after the convenience end of things. So I want everybody just to keep in mind, convenience and professionalism is huge. If what you're doing is an inconvenience to the customer, if you're making them work to do anything. So like at the end of the job, if we've done a garage cleanup and loaded everything up, what is something that we need to do right after that job to prevent the customer from having to do it? Because it's going to have to get done.
If they have a broom, I'll sweep it up.
Yeah.
A little bit of the mess, that we have.
Yeah, we should always sweep it up. And what, in a way, is there a way we can go the extra mile? Let's say we cleared out half the garage. How can we go the extra mile?
Straighten up their other stuff they have in there and make it look neat for them.
Yeah, I mean,
Show them progression.
there you go. So, I mean, it's how much harder is it to sweep up a 2-car garage and just half of a 1-car garage? Sweeping's huge. So, a fellow pilot and entrepreneur, a guy named Mark Patey, once said that 98% of what you do, you break even on. 2%, there's 2% that's your profit. And that's not just in business. That's like everything, man. I mean, let's say let's bring up your job stuff right here. Y'all are expected to be in here this morning. That's 98%. You're expected to be in work on time. That's 98%. You're expected to get the jobs, to load junk. All of that and work throughout the entire day. That's what it's expected. You're not going to get ahead here or get raises here just by doing what's expected. It's what that final 2% is. I'll tell you one thing we also expect. We expect y'all to tear some trucks up every once in a while. That's one thing that if you don't do, if you are easier on those trucks, if you're not dinging them up, you know, that's something you can get ahead. What's the 2% in junk removal? Or actually, no, hold up. What's the 98% in junk removal? We just got hired for the customer. From the customer standpoint, what's the 98%?
We get the job done.
That's the number one. Yeah. What else is there? What's within getting the job done though? Like what's something we're doing within that?
Didn't ding the walls up.
Yeah, that's expected.
Yeah.
Being there on time.
That's expected. Kyle, you got anything? What's expected? Come on, man. Been doing this longer than anybody. Let's touch on the 2%. We've talked about a lot of it. What is the 2% profit in this case?
Ask them what else do they need done besides the job that
Man, that's awesome. Yeah. What else can we do for you?
that changes if you get a tip or not right up.
That's it. And that's another thing we're talking, you know, your tips are going to be based on this 2%. Yeah, somebody might just feel like they have to tip you on the 98. Getting a higher tip and getting tips, period, along a lot of customers are based on that 2%. You got to have that wow factor. What else we got?
Probably good conversation with the customer, engaging them a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, good conversation. And what about just acting like you want to be there?
Creating a relationship?
There you go. Yeah, I mean, creating some sort of relationship. That's actually huge. If you can do that, which, Kyle, you're great at. You and your brother have always been great at creating relationships with customers.
Making the customer feel comfortable.
Creating relationships. Guys, if we get calls, and we always do on Kyle, and then when Kenny was working, we always get calls on, man, those guys are awesome. And that right there, that's 2% for us. That's 2% for your job. That's the biggest 2%, is if we get calls up and saying, Brody, Duke, you know, whoever it was, did an awesome job. You know, I just couldn't believe, I couldn't believe how good they did. They took, they didn't track any mud in. They were really, really nice, personable. They created that relationship. That's your 2%. Something else I'll add on, we were talking about, most customers don't expect us to sweep and pick up small stuff. Yeah, they hired us for convenience service. They don't want to do anything on their own. If we didn't sweep up, they still might rehire us. Because most of them don't expect us to sweep, don't expect us to pick up the small stuff. Some do, but most of them don't. But sweeping, that's a good way to get in that 2%, and that's also a wow factor. So I went from, one thing I don't ever want to have to say is they maybe rehire us. It's always, yeah, they're going to rehire us because we did an awesome job, because we did that 2%, because we swept up. I just want everybody to think about that. I love these Friday morning meetings, and we're going to do it. If I'm in town, I'll be here. We're going to do them regardless. So, I mean, Christian will put them on. We'll cover some, like I said, we'll cover some stuff at the beginning of the meeting like we did before, some operational type stuff that's got to get done right, maybe slipping a little bit can improve. What I'd like a lot of these meetings to do is I'm hoping that y'all might have been able to take something of this. I love this, dude. I use this in my life on about everything. I do a piss poor job on a lot of it, but I always try and I always try to improve. I always try and do that extra 2%. And ever since I came across that, it's made a pretty big difference in what I've had going on. I hope it does it with y'all. I love to be able to cover a lot of this stuff. You apply it, in other areas of your life, and maybe a meeting like this, it could be kind of counterproductive for us, because if everything we accomplished and it went like we wanted, y'all would really gain so much from this that you would either advance up into a different position with the Junk Doctors or JRA, or you would leave. But if you left, in the years past, most people that leave, it's a horizontal move. It's a horizontal move. It's not a vertical move. What I love is y'all be able to learn something and be able to make a vertical move after you leave Junk Doctors. Anybody got any questions at all? Well, hey guys, I appreciate y'all coming in this morning. Let's go do some jobs. Let's do that 2%.
Hey Kyle, what's your favorite song?
My favorite song?
Yeah,
Russian Bon Jovi.
damn straight.
Goldnick McBlit. Snakes and Stripes.
Never disappoints.
Same.
Hey Ben,
Yeah.
nice hat.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
My favorite song's the same as his, by the way.
What's that called again?
Gopnik McBlat. Duh.